Perfect. So how are you? Tell us about your day. What'd you do today?
Oh, good. Well, I got a new listing, so I'm working
Oh,
on that. We had a meeting early this morning. So I was in the office. Afterwards, I had to stop at a new construction community that we are getting ourselves acquainted with. And that's about all that was um, scheduled. And then everything else I was doing on my own.
well, a new listing is the best thing that could be scheduled. How did you find the person?
It's a referral.
So was it like a friend of a friend sort of thing?
Yes, yes.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, that seems to be like the one of the top ways that people get new leads, referrals. But yeah, I mean that's great. Where's the listing? I know you're licensed in Florida. Well, what town? What town?
Wesley Chapel.
That's where you live, or that's where the listing is?
That's where I live. That's where the listing is.
Oh, both.
It's a very popular community. It's a town. It's a city, of course. It's a town. Tampa is the city that we're really known for. But Wesley Chapel is a suburban area of Tampa. And it's very, very popular with relocation people.
Hmm.
Uh, and there's a whole lot of new construction, so there's a lot of newer homes. So when people want a newer home, Wesley Chapel's probably where they would go. At least that's where I would take them.
And
And the schools are excellent.
hmm.
So, and you've got shopping and restaurants, and it's near the interstate. So it's got all the it meets all the check boxes of a lot of people.
Sounds great for parents and maybe for people to retire as well.
Retire all ages.
Right.
It's really all it's not just for retired people, although we get them too.
Hmm.
But the nice thing about it is I think probably the median age I would say here would be in the 40s, 50s.
Okay. So not too many 20-year-olds walking around, huh?
Well, I would say you'd be more in the city, Tampa City, unless you're still live with your parents.
Right. With nothing wrong with that. I moved out when I was 29. I heard houses in Florida are really going up in price nowadays. Is that correct?
Yes, the prices have gone up, especially after the COVID. During the pandemic, that's most people decided they didn't want to be in apartments. They didn't want to be in close quarters.
Mhm.
They didn't want to be where there's overpopulated areas. So Florida is one of those places where you have a lot more space, I would say. It's not that we're not overly crowded because there are some parts that are, but there's definitely much more space here.
Yeah, I'm really upset that I missed that because I heard that during COVID, I heard houses were flying and I heard everyone was selling and buying and moving to Florida and this and that. And I'm still mad that I missed that wave to this day.
No, there's a good time for everything.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
always the next wave. So how
Yeah.
long have you been in real estate now?
I would say since 1984.
Oh my gosh.
That was the first year that I got into real estate. So I wouldn't say how old I was, but
40
um
years.
yes, but I did go into real estate, but I was sort of into it, but not as much as I didn't really get into it as much as until I got to Florida,
Oh, you were in New York first or New
New
Jersey?
Jersey.
And oh, you were licensed in Jersey.
I was licensed in New Jersey. I was living in New Jersey, and then we moved to Florida in 1990. So between 1990 and 1999, I was busy with the kids. And 1999, I went back into real estate full time and have been full time since that time up to now.
And when you switched over to Florida, you had to start from the ground up. You had to take the classes again. You had to start from
Yeah,
A, right?
yeah, I did.
And
And I got into commercial for about the first year, I think. And then afterwards, I decided I really want to be into residential.
really, so what made you want to go from commercial to residential?
Well, first of all, with commercial, I was commuting more because, when you're an investor looking for shopping areas and selecting certain places to have a business or establish a business, then you have to go to different parts of Tampa, which I find myself driving a lot and getting stuck on the highway.
Hmm.
So I decided residential because I wanted to work where
Avoid
I
traffic.
live. Yeah, I work where I live. And so, kids can be in school and I'll be working and I'm not too far from home.
But isn't there more money in commercial?
Probably. But it wasn't convenient for me.
I heard it's a lot more competitive too. Like it's extremely, extremely competitive in commercial. Is that
It's
correct?
a yeah, it's a different type of sales for
Mm,
sure. Very money oriented, which real estate as well, but there because you're looking for profit, so it's profit oriented. And it was nice, but I wanted the more personal kind of sales, which what residential gave me.
yeah, I guess residential might have a more like intimate and friendly sort of vibe. Would you say that's
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. And when I went back into real estate, my kids were in elementary school.
Hmm.
And so I met a lot of that age group, which was a great age group for establishing business because those were the ones buying homes, expanding their family, buying another home larger than the one before that.
Hmm.
So there was a lot of turnover in that age group, which was very good for me. And also, I was meeting people my age group at the same time.
Hmm.
So I had a lot that I can connect with people. So it was easier for me that way.
What did you do before real estate?
I worked in Manhattan, in New York. I work in sales, but it was a regular job, kind of 9 to 5.
Hmm.
And it was great. I can get into that too, but real estate was me.
It fit your personality.
It fit me. It became yeah, it was very natural for me to do real estate.
What made you switch over? Was it the money? What made you switch over to real estate from there?
Well, because Nicholas was born my son,
Mhm.
and we were living in New Jersey, and my job at that time was in New York, in Manhattan. So I didn't want to commute anymore.
Yeah, that
So
totally
I
added
wanted
up.
to live, yeah, that was back in New Jersey when 1984 when I first started real estate.
Mhm.
And then, of course, I left New Jersey to come to Florida and then restarted that business again.
Yeah, that must be so how long were you a realtor in Jersey? Just in Jersey?
I would say about 4 years to, yeah,
It
somewhere
must
about,
be really hard to go from 4 years to starting from the ground up, right? Like you move to a completely different location. You don't know anyone. You don't know the location. That must have been a really hard transition to switch over.
well, I didn't see it that way. I just saw it as a job that I'm going to take.
Mhm. Interesting.
You don't really put too much thinking about it. You just decide I'm going to work. So
Right.
that was it for me. That's how I saw it.
Because real estate is a lot of networking, right? It's a lot of networking, a lot of like who you know. So then when you switch to a new location, it's like, wow, like now nobody here knows me. So then you have to you have to network all over again, right?
Yeah.
Tell
But
us
that's the
about
exciting part.
yeah.
That's the
Well,
exciting part. When you first get into real estate and you're getting trained and your broker's telling you how to find business and of course helping you establish yourself and do mailers and cold calling and how to establish yourself in a brand new way. So those are all exciting things.
and what is the name of your broker right now?
Berkshire Hathaway
Oh, you
Home
Berkshire. Okay.
Services. Yeah, Florida Properties Group is the entire name. It's
And
called.
do you want to tell the viewers like what percent do they keep and what percent do you keep? The percentage?
You mean split?
Yeah, the split, yeah.
No, I think I'd rather keep that to myself.
Okay, no problem. So tell us about your very, very first year in real estate, like because a lot of new agents, the statistic, 90% of agents quit in the first year. So tell us about your first year. It must have been really rough, huh?
Well, you know, I didn't see it as rough. I saw it as challenge, adventure. So I didn't think negatively about it. of course, it helps that I was so positive, my mindset was so positive that it couldn't be anything else. And so I knew that that's what I'm going to go into and that's what I'm going to do. So there was no second plan, there was no plan B.
You knew that you wanted to do it. You knew that you didn't want
And
to
I'm
give
going to
up.
do it. Yeah. Yeah.
And how long did you have to wait until your first check? Because some people have to wait like a year until their first check. What did it take really long for you to
I
get
would
that
say
first?
6 months.
Wow.
6 months.
And
Yeah.
at this time you already had kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
It must have been like, pretty hard,
Well, see, it's always about the mindset. And I did have that, busyness with family life, but at the same time, I that was an opportunity because I was going to the schools, dropping them off at schools, and I saw everybody as potential customers.
Mhm.
And so everything for me was, oh, who's looking to buy a home? Who can I help who's looking to sell? So even with the kids, it was fun because I saw it that way. And of course, it wasn't all about business, it was about relationships
Mhm.
and also having a conversation starter, It's easy to make friends when you start talking about your work. And,
Yeah.
it's just something it's a conversation starter at first. And then afterwards, you start to get the business.
Yeah, it's interesting because this is I've been in it for 7 months now, and out of all the businesses, so I was a school safety officer for 10 years. I resell sneakers for 5 years. I've been driving Uber for 5 years, and this is the business where I had to wait the longest for the first check. It's already been 7 months, and like all of the other businesses, I got my first check pretty fast. This one, like you have to wait a really long time, and I feel like it just takes a lot of persistency and a lot of like patience.
Yes, a lot of patience and I think a focus. When your focus is you're going to make money, you're working hard. And when you work hard, it pays off. So I think when you start to think of it as I'm working hard, it's got to pay off. It
Mhm.
will. And that's how I saw it. It was just a matter of time for me. And then the time came.
Yeah, like sometimes, I feel like sometimes you just got to go to bed at night thinking, okay, even though I didn't get paid today, at least I built the brand. At least I networked. At least I went to this event. At least I somewhat built the brand because I work on the brand and networking every single day, every day. So like even though I don't get paid, I try to at least think at least I built the brand, right?
Yeah. And the thing too that my mindset was, who can I help? Who needs my help? Who needs help in finding their home?
Mhm.
And I think when you look at it that way, then you attract it, who needs my help? Who needs my help? And when I'm talking to people, it's, what also, Chris, what was helpful for me was I was take my kids to school, drop them off, and I'll meet parents. And those are, they're always talking about homes.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it was easier for me from that end because I was constantly talking to families and families need, bigger and bigger homes, right? So I think that was helpful. And then the second part is each time I do talk with them in my mind, it's like, when are you moving? Are you planning on moving soon? That kind of everyone's always moving. So if you have that mindset that everyone's always moving, where do you plan to move? Then there's always activity somehow, somewhere. It may not always go to you, let's say, because there's a lot of competition too.
Yes.
But when you know that someone's moving, it's helpful for your mindset because there is something going on there. There's business out there, there's activity, economy is always moving, right? And the other thing too is I always see my business, my job as helping the economy. If people are
Mhm.
not moving, then it's stagnant. But
Mhm.
if people are moving, I'm making it move. Money is floating there somewhere. So it's always good. It's good for everyone.
Yeah. There was a word that you said that stuck out, which is the word competition, because some realtors, do view it as we're competing with each other, and some realtors don't view it that way. Some realtors view it as, we're all a team and we're helping each other out and we can make money off each other. So do you view other realtors as a competition, or do you view them as helping each other out? What is your perspective on that?
In the beginning, when I was first new in real estate, and I don't know if this was just in New Jersey, I did have in that idea that I'm competing against, this agent and that agent.
Mhm.
Somehow, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Florida, maybe it's the environment, and or maybe it's my age, that I'm looking at things differently. But I don't see agents as competition as much as there's enough business for everybody. No one's taking my business away from me, and I'm not taking away their business. It's just a matter of everyone's helping whoever they need to help, and whoever comes to them, or I guess I don't see the competition as much, but I know that that is happening in some places.
Yeah.
Just not with me. It's not a thing.
You don't feel like real estate is oversaturated with realtors. You don't feel that.
I think there's a lot of licensed people, a lot of people that has real estate license, but
Mhm.
not all of them are salespeople.
Hmm.
So there may be a lot of people with holding real estate licenses, and they have them with certain brokers so that, it's always active, and they can sell once a year, maybe to families, maybe to friends, and then that's it because they're holding another job. So they're not really these salespeople that is the typical real estate agent. So, that's not a competition. So there could be a whole lot of those type of people out
Mhm.
there in addition to those that are working full time. Saturated, I don't know. I guess I'm just focused more on myself rather than what is all around me. And I'm just, helping one person at a time.
Yeah, that's definitely the right mentality to just, focus on yourself. And it is true that a lot of people, like one reason why I got my real estate license is because I want a real house of my own one day. Like I have a co-op right now, but I want a single family home. And I feel like that is one reason why a lot of people get their license to help them get their own home, to get their own dream home one day, right?
Yeah, and that's the best way when you approach people like yourself, let's say single people. It's not just families that need to buy a home. Single people need to be investing. It may not be a family home they're looking for, but it could be a home that they can have as a starter home where they can then later on sell it for something else and make their, invest their initial home investment. And that's the way to be approaching people your age and in your sphere,
Hmm.
because they're all just like you, let's say, but they're renting. Well,
Hmm.
they're the best way to sell them is to let them know how much you can make their money work for them
Yes,
rather than
definitely.
giving it to,
A
giving
landlord.
it to the landlord.
Yeah, yeah, that's one way to look at it.
Open up their minds.
Yes. So walk us through a normal day in your shoes. Like what time do you wake up? What do you do? When do you eat breakfast? Walk us through a normal day in your shoes.
Well, for me, my normal day is I usually wake up and then I'm not what you can say the type of agent that would be, on the phone from 8 to 10. Although I've been in the business a long time, so now I am in, what did you say, 40 years?
But who's
Um,
counting?
I would say at least 30 years here in Florida. So I'm not quite as gung-ho as I used to be in the beginning. In the beginning, I would start my day and then I'll do cold calling for maybe 2 to 3 hours in the morning,
Wow.
set up appointments so that by the afternoon I have appointments lined up. And if I don't have appointments from the cold calling, then it would be from people that I'm working with and, have already established as going to be buying a home pretty soon. But now it's different for me because I've kind of slowed down a little bit. So my kind of day is one where um, I do my reading, I do meditation in the morning. I start my day that way. I'm a little bit more on the calm side as opposed to gung ho, gotta do something, gotta get out of the house, gotta have appointments set up. So I'm not in that sense kind of a realtor, but I am now in that mode where I have my business, it's established, and so I just work it.
Well, what's interesting is that, I feel like in the beginning, in the very, very beginning, you kind of do have to be that gun-ho agent in the
Yeah,
beginning
of
to
course.
to build your business. And then once you have the clientele and once you have the cloud, I guess, the networking, then you can kind of calm down a little bit. No?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly my point. I've done that. My kids are all grown, but when they were young, I spent a lot of time working and, some time with family and some time, a lot of juggling. So I'm not that person now. I'm a little bit more subdued, and I appreciate the time off that I have from work. So I'm kind of not that typical agent that you're probably um, seeing in the younger age group. Although I could say that there's a lot of agents in my age group that are still very, very much working full time, 50 hours a week, which is probably typical.
Yeah, like so in the beginning, how many hours a week would you say that you were working at your peak? Were you doing 50, 60, 70? Can you give us like a range? Like how many hours a week?
I can't even tell you. All I know is that I never had vacations, and when I do have vacations, my videos that my family have of me are always on the phone.
Yeah,
Will
that's how it
be.
is.
And it wasn't that long ago where all my vacations, in fact, up to now, I always taken my computer with me because I never know when I'm going to get that phone call.
Yeah.
So I'm always working wherever I am, but now I don't take it as seriously as I used to. But yeah,
There's no sick days and vacation days for real estate.
no, no, there's no holidays either. In fact, holidays are shot. Come Christmas time, that's when people are on vacation and they come to Florida, and that's when they want to look at homes. So I find myself many, many years where all my holidays are working.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving, especially, they're only here for that long 4 days weekend.
yeah,
So yeah, so I paid my dues.
yeah.
That much I can say.
You still
So
are.
yeah, so that if I do take my time now for myself and have a little more time off, I don't feel guilty because I put so much time before.
Yeah, I mean you definitely paid your dues for sure. I think if you don't pay your dues at 40 years, I don't know when you pay your dues.
Yeah, if you can slow down after this many years, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
But also, I learned to appreciate family and family time and quiet time. I've learned to appreciate that. Whereas when the beginning, every time it's quiet time, I feel like I should be doing something.
Hmm.
I should be calling do my old client phone calls. Like I couldn't sit still every time something is. In fact, I just remembered whenever the business is slow, that's when I work harder because I feel like if it's slow now, I better, start working on my calls and appointments so that, I have something to look forward to. But that's not the same now for me because I find that yeah, I find that I paid my dues.
Yes, yeah, I would strongly agree with that. So what is your number one favorite thing about being a realtor?
I think what I like the most is being part of people's um, when I meet people, usually they're so excited because they're buying a home, their family's expanding. So I feel like I'm part of that. They're really happy and they're excited about it. I'm part of that. Or they're just found a job here in Florida. They're just relocating and they're excited about this new job, and I'm part of that. Um, and being able to help through whatever decisions that they have to make, that was very rewarding, and being able to help through all that is rewarding.
Yeah, I remember I was speaking to a broker when I first started, and he was saying, like, well, as a realtor, you're changing people's lives. you're buying them home, you're helping them buy homes, helping them sell homes. It's a life-changing experience for a lot of people, especially first-time buyers, right?
Right, right. It's just nice to be able to help them through it. It's not so much changing their life as much as just helping them navigate through stress, that comes with buying a home and helping them avoid problems, potential problems when you're buying a home, guiding them through the contract so that they're not lost in it or missing out on deadlines or being able, to soften it in a way so that they're not so nervous about it. That kind of thing, just hand holding.
Yes, definitely. What do you think about teams? Like I'm on a team, for example. What do you think about teams?
Teams are great. And some people like to be in teams. I don't do teams, but I find that there's a lot of positive things about it, especially if you are, like I was a working mom when I was doing real estate. Being in a team would probably have been helpful
Mhm.
because if I'm someplace where I can be, with a customer for some reason because my daughter's sick at home or something like that,
Mhm.
because you're in a team, you have each other to help out. So I think that's really good. And also, you have the camaraderie, right? And you have a way of bouncing off ideas between each other because you are a team, you're working the same customers or the same listings or helping out to make sure that same listing gets sold. So, yeah, it's very good. It's very helpful. I think that's probably more common now because it's like having an office within the office within the office.
Yeah, I think teams are the really, really, really good for new agents like myself. Because when you're starting from scratch, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know the area, you don't know anybody's names. So I feel like teams are
Yeah,
probably the number one best thing for new agents
yeah,
to join, in my opinion. Even
yeah,
more than a mentor, I would say.
yeah, yeah. All that.
I,
It's definitely much better.
I think I skipped the question. What is your least favorite thing about being a realtor?
I think the least favorite is when it's a holiday
Mm,
and you're about to sit down for dinner, but you can't get there on time because you're still doing something or you're writing a contract. I had a customer where after I show him homes, all day Saturday, he goes to his house, I go to my house, and I'm doing dinner, about to sit down for dinner. Then he calls me up. He wants to write a contract but it's dinner time, but at the same time, he's pressed for time. So I want
mm.
to accommodate that, work on the contract from 8 o'clock until 10:30 at night, going back and forth with it. And so I think the thing that I don't like, or at least, the negative part about it is that sometimes you miss out on family situations. It could have been a holiday too when that happened, then you'd still have to do it. So there are times when you'll miss out on those things.
Yeah, and the thing is, custom clients, they don't want to wait. They don't want to wait for an answer. They want an answer right away. They don't
Yeah.
want to wait for, like if you make them wait, they'll go to the next agent, right? They don't
Yeah.
want to wait.
Yeah. And I can't blame them either, right?
Uh,
Because, if you're buying something, you want that done. So it's not even that I could blame them because that is part of the job. It's just the part of the job that sometimes don't work for me, but it's still it offsets the good stuff too. So
yes, the good comes with the bad. Do you
yeah.
have a CRM?
What is that?
A CRM, a customer relations ma
Manager?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
No.
Oh, so how do you track all your leads and your clients? Do you use Google Excel? How do you track it all?
No, I'm old school. I
Hmm.
have a notebook.
Really?
My
Oh, okay.
notebook, my phone. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
old
wow.
school.
You're the first person to say that, but whatever works, right? Whatever works.
Yeah, yeah, and you'll find so many different ways that agents are working this business.
Yes. Should people today buy or rent?
Oh, for certain buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for certain. you can never save enough to meet the the inflation, uh, especially when I find that some buyers are waiting to save up for a down payment. Like you can't. There's just no way that you can save up fast enough before that house will go up so much more than what you're trying to save. So I would say if someone is looking to buy a home and they don't want to buy it because they don't have the down payment,
Mhm.
then let's try to find some ways. I'll have them contact a lender that can possibly show them different types of finances, programs for them that would get them to buy a home right away. Of course, not everyone's a home buyer. Some people just can't commit to being in the same house all the time, and that's okay. But if they are looking to buy a house at some point, I would say, why not now?
Yeah, I moved out at age 29 because
Very good.
yeah, because a lot of people, I mean, what I would say is try to live at home until you can afford to buy, because but everyone's different. Like some people like to rent, some people like to move around, like you said, and then like at least when you're renting, like if the boiler breaks, it's on the landlord, it's not on you. So th there are pros and cons, but for the most part, most people should buy from a financial perspective. That is the intelligent thing to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only reason that you wouldn't buy is because you're not set on your job, for example. You're not set on the location where you are, and you
Mm,
think that you're going to move to a different location. Then
mm,
I would say don't buy because, you have the closing costs to
mm.
contend with, buying a home and then selling the home. So in that case, don't buy. But if you are thinking of buying, but you're holding off because you're trying to save money, those are the ways that I said buy now, because there
Right.
is a way of being able to buy, and I can help you find it. For example, here in Florida, and I don't know in some other places, there's a lot of new construction, new builders, and they pay the closing costs. So that the only thing you have to worry about is your down payment. Now, you can have a 3% down payment, you can have a 5% down payment, 10%, whatever, whatever suits your financial needs. But if your closing cost is paid for, then that's a lot of money off, that you don't have to worry about.
They pay the entire closing cost.
Hmm.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, come to Florida,
That's
find your
incredible.
home.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I don't think we have that over here.
yeah, probably not.
That's that. Oh, what do they get out of that?
The builder.
Yeah.
Well, they get to sell the house, their inventory home.
Uh,
But there's a lot of course, sometimes you have to look at it like, all right, someone had to pay. So it may be in the price already. But the prices here where I am is very reasonable. And the only way really that you can the best way to really look at it is what size of home do I want? What kind of location do I want to be in? And this is the monthly payment that I want for my, that I'm comfortable with. Can you find me that? And if the closing costs, let's say we can make it so that it's all paid for and not coming out of your pocket, because some builders do pay closing costs, and all you need to come up with is the down payment, and I can get you that monthly payment that you're looking for, then it's a win-win.
yes, that's amazing. Why should a person
Just don't
even?
get too picky.
Yes, exactly. Don't get too picky. So here's a question that a lot of people ask. Why should a person even use an agent? Why, you can buy a home without an agent, you can sell a home without an agent. Why should a person even use an agent?
Well, there are a lot of homes for sale. That is a fact. So you can buy any homes on your own by yourself. And, I'm sure if you wanted to do that, you would have done that already. But
Yeah.
if that person is looking to find out why, there must be a reason why realtors have been around for, I don't know, centuries.
Mhm.
There must be a reason why people do use us.
Mhm.
The first thing I can tell you is that I can find you the ones that are priced well. There are a lot of for sale by owners out there too, where their prices is off the charts.
Hmm. Hmm.
And if you don't know any better, you can probably, be buying that one.
Hmm.
I think with a realtor, you'll have all the needs taken care of as much as far as making sure that you're buying a good value because we can tell you what the good value is. And we can tell you because of our experience in buying and selling real estate in an area that you're maybe not familiar with. Tell you about the neighborhood. Of course, you can find that out on your own too, and that can take a long, long time. But everyone's free to do what they want.
Right.
Use me if you want me, and there's I'll make sure that you get what you pay for,
Right.
as far as saving, getting the best value, buying in a location that you won't regret because, of course, it will be my opinion, but I can tell you it's a good neighborhood because based on what you tell me you like, I can kind of say, yeah, you might like living here. What do you think? You know, at the end of the day, the person will choose what they want to choose.
Hmm.
And, I can only, show them stuff.
Right. And we also have access to MLS, that too. Do you think the interest rates and home prices will lower anytime soon?
I think that's already happening now. And they're predicting it to be even better in the next few months. So yeah, yeah, I'm very optimistic about that.
Hopefully.
I think we're
So
gonna have a good spring market.
we only have 3 minutes left on Zoom, so I'll ask like two or three more questions. Do you have any tips for new agents?
Um, Say that again.
Tips for new agents? Tips?
Tips. One thing that I can say that I learned when I first started doing real estate is only you know you're new. No one else does. And so if you have the knowledge already, you know the market, you know your numbers, you know the values of homes, you know what's a good buy, all of those things. If you already know that, then your value is going to be evident.
Yes.
And just be confident that you have it and you're worth it. And for those people that ask why should you use a real estate agent, you have to know it first for yourself, your
How,
value.
how will the NAR lawsuit settlement affect realtors and buyers?
Well, it's just making it longer for us to explain things to buyers and sellers because there's a lot more for us to talk to them about.
Mhm.
But the way I see it is that's just what it is now. It's disclosing everything as far as who's paying what and how much and where that's coming from. So that's a good thing, I guess. You know.
Do you think that it's gonna hurt us in the long run? Do you think it's gonna hurt realtors in the long run?
Well, the way I look at things is this is what it is. This is the playing field now, and we're just gonna work it.
Yeah. Whether it hurts us or not, you just
Yeah, I mean, what's the
gotta
sense
work.
of analyzing and evaluating it for me? Some people love to talk about these things, but the way I look at it is I'm just gonna work with what I have and use what I have and help people buy and sell real estate.
Well, it seems to me like you got in there at the right time. So we only have a few, like 30 seconds left. Where can people find you?
So look for me at if you want to find me, I'm in Wesley Chapel, Florida, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Florida Properties Group. That's my office. And my website is www.tampabayhomes.net.
Perfect. I'll put the link below. It was so great talking to you, Dita Mercy. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Chris,
All
and
right.
have fun.
Yes,
That's
thanks.
that. I think that's the best. That's the tip that I could say for you and
Enjoy.
for anyone that's doing real estate. Just have fun.
Don't stress out.
Yeah, don't stress out.
Thanks a lot. Have a good one. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good
Take care.
night.